Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, operation underway to deport Haitians who entered Jamaica illegally. A Ministry of National Security operation is underway to deport dozens of Haitians who entered Jamaica illegally. It is understood that the Haitians who have been in custody for a period of time and who were charged with illegal entry were removed from several holding areas across the country, including Freeport, St. James, Hanover, St. Elizabeth, and Portland late Wednesday evening. Reliable sources told the news Wednesday evening that dozens of Haitians are now at the Boundbrook Wharf in Port Antonio, Portland, under police guard, who are being supported by a strong deployment of Jamaica Defense Force personnel. Up to 9:10 p.m., the Haitians were still at the facility. Royalton Negril workers' wishes granted after high-level meeting. The just over 200 militant workers who walked off the job and staged a protest at Royalton Negril on National Heroes Day got their wish on all county yesterday, following a meeting among the hotel's management, the workers, and the tourism stakeholders led by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett. The workers had been demanding better working conditions, better remuneration, and the removal of a general manager. Following the meeting, which was labeled private and from which the news was blocked, Maxine Fountain, the company's room division manager, said a decision was made to suspend the general manager, who the workers wanted removed. In addition, the workers' salary packages were improved and an offer was made for better meals at the workers' canteen. Our VP of Operations, with immediate effect, injected some capital solely for the staff canteen, said Fountain. She intimated that the improvement was already in place, as Bartlett had lunch with the workers, who seemingly were pleased with the outcome of the meeting in the canteen. In relation to the low wages, which some workers described as a slave labor, Royalton's resident manager, Alvin Anderson, said it was agreed that the workers would get an immediate increase in wages with a promise for even more benefits soon. We have put some money for these for the next coming year. We have increased the gratuity. The company has also taken a decision to put an extra $40,000 for this period, where for October, when we know the occupancy is low, for November we know the occupancy is low, they have inserted $40,000 that will stay right across the board for everybody, all the line team members and the supervisors. In terms of amenities to improve the general working conditions of the workers, Anderson said that in the upcoming months, the workers could also look out for the installation of a barbershop and a gym, which would help the workers to keep up their physical appearance and to make them feel more appreciated. Following the meeting, Bartlett said he was happy with the outcome of the meeting, noting that in his discussions with the hotel's management, he had been given the assurance that going forward, the contentious issues would be a thing of the past. We are satisfied that there is the basics here as a sustainable relationship, one also that I think is going to be bounded with respect. It came out from the different layers of workers, not just the ordinary workers, so to speak, but management as well, said Bartlett. Following the protest on Monday, during which the then disgruntled workers got support from guests at the property, members of the hotel's top management, who are based in Canada, flew into the island to take charge of the situation. They reportedly met with the workers on Tuesday and responded positively to their demands, which resulted in the immediate resumption of work. During the demonstration on Monday, the workers used the placards to highlight their grouses, claiming poor treatment, low wages, and the unwillingness of the general manager to listen to their concerns. PNP calls for government to send help to crisis-hit Cuba. The People's National Party is calling for the government to swiftly respond to the worsening humanitarian crisis in Cuba. Spokesperson on Foreign and Regional Affairs, Dr. Angela Brownberg, said that Cuba is in dire need of immediate support, but questioned the absence of an announcement of any concrete plans for aid or assistance from the Jamaican government. Dr. Brownberg added that This is an opportunity to reaffirm Jamaica's commitment to a nation with which it shares strong bilateral ties.
When friends were few and far between for Jamaica and much of the Caribbean, Cuba gave aid in whatever manner they could, whether it was in healthcare, sports, education, or construction. We must, therefore, not leave them now in their time of need. We urge the Jamaican government, therefore, to urgently arrange for assistance to our nearest neighbor and friend in this, their time of crisis. These healthcare professionals have served our system with precision and excellence, and many have in turn made Jamaica their home or second home. Our entire athletic program and worldwide acclaim of athletes can be attributed to Cuban technical support and the gift of the GC Foster College for training of our athletes and the sports administrators for our schools throughout the island.
In the meantime, Minister of Foreign Affairs Camilla Johnson-Smith, in a post on X, extended sympathies and solidarity as Cuba battles an island-wide blackout, which was further compounded after the country was affected by Hurricane Oscar that caused at least 7 deaths. Mrs. Johnson-Smith, while noting that Jamaica's embassy was also affected, said it is seeking to continue providing services within constraints. Indicom probing fatal police shooting in Trelawney. Investigators from the Independent Commission of Investigations are probing the fatal shooting of a man during an alleged shootout with the police in Trelawney Monday morning. The deceased has been identified as Gawain Campbell of Bunkers Hill, Trelawney. Reports are that shortly after 5 a.m., a police team was carrying out an operation in the Ghetto Lane section of Bunkers Hill when the lawmen went to a house occupied by Campbell and called out to him to open the door. The police were reportedly greeted with a gunfire. The cops took evasive action and the fire was returned. After the shooting subsided, Campbell was discovered suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. A .45 pistol was reportedly seized during the operation. Golden says next the PNP government will overhaul Ganja industry, thus creating wealth for farmers. Accusing the Jamaica Labour Party administration of implementing policies that have destroyed the legal ganja industry, President of the People's National Party, Mark Golding, said that should his party form the next government, emphasis will be placed on rebuilding the sector. The 2015 reform to the Dangerous Drugs Act decriminalized the personal possession and use of ganja, recognized the Rastafari and their sacramental rights to cultivate and use ganja, and created a platform on which a new medical cannabis industry could be built. Golden argued that the ganja industry needs to be overhauled to create wealth for small farmers. The lawful ganja industry has been ruined by the poor policies and ineffective management of the industry by the Jamaica Labour Party government. It needs a complete overhaul, and we intend to give it that overhaul so that it can be a source of legitimate wealth creation for our farmers, especially small farmers, many of whom built the industry in the shadows and suffered the oppression as a result of prohibition over 100 years, until I changed the thing in 2015 and made personal use of ganja no more an offense, Golding said. We want to take it to the level because the space has opened up internationally for more initiative in that direction. He was speaking over the weekend at the official opening of the PNP St. James's Central Constituency office in Montego Bay. Janice Allen, an opposition senator, will be trying to unseat the GLP's Heroy Clark in the next general election. Clark has been the sitting member of parliament for St. James's Central since 2016. Senior citizen wants a Chief Justice to free her from 14-year bondage. A senior citizen whose case has been on the civil list at the Supreme Court for 14 years is now making a special plea to Chief Justice Brand Sykes to help to end what she considers her bondage by the justice system. I have spent all my money on legal fees, wasted many days going to court, and not even one judge can look at my case and say, this case cannot be on the list for so long. It must come to an end, complained 74-year-old Dorel Barclay as she wept uncontrollably on Tuesday, a day before delivering a letter outlining her plight to Sykes. The last time Barclay went to court, she said she was told to return on November 25 and the judge advised her to get a lawyer. She explained that she had 2 lawyers before and that she just cannot afford a 3rd lawyer because after retiring as a postmistress 18 years ago, the Ministry of Finance has not yet taken steps to pay her any pension. So you see, between the Supreme Court and the Ministry of Finance, I can get no justice, claimed Barclay. The justice system has me in bondage, and I feel like I am a slave bound by the justice system because there is no compassion for an old woman like me, she emphasized. Barclay describes her civil case as one of the simplest on the list and argued that even a child could adjudicate on it. All I am asking is for the court to make an order that I am entitled to have the right of way to my property, which I have been using since I was born on the land, and the order that the road be restored, Barclay sought to explain. She outlined that there was a surveyor's report on her file and the photographs of the building in the roadway, and that she was at a loss as to why the matter could not be resolved. One of Barclay's relatives told the news that he was willing to testify in court because he used to drive his car right to her gate, but since the offending building was placed in the right-of-way to her home, he can no longer do so. The property, which is in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew, had belonged to Barclay's grandparents, and when they died, the property was shared among their children, according to the will. Barclay's mother inherited a 1/4 acre of the property, and when she died, she willed her portion to Barclay, who was her only child. Barclay, who was born on the land and lived there all her life, explained that her mother built a house on her portion of the land and had an 8-foot right-of-way from the parochial road to her house. She said when she became an adult, she built a house near to her mother's house and enjoyed easy access to her house until 2010. Barclay said she has a registered title for her property. There is a house some distance below her property which belonged to her grandparents, and after they died, another relative occupied that house. She said that 14 years ago, she noticed an addition being done to that house and the building was extended onto the road to her house. She reported the matter to the Kingston and the St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, which in June 2010 placed a stop order on the building. The stop order was subsequently disobeyed, she claimed, because after a few weeks, work continued on the building. Someone then advised her to consult a lawyer, and after doing so, she said a suit was filed in the Supreme Court in August 2010. Barclay said she made her first appearance in court in September 2010, and since then, she has made countless appearances in court, but not one judge has taken a serious look at the case to say that the case has been on the list for too long and should be tried. Barclay said she hopes her letter to the Chief Justice will spur him to take the initiative to have the case disposed of so she can be relieved of the stress and heartache that the inordinate delay is causing her. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.